All right. I don't know how long, folks, it has been since I had a co-host, but this feels weird. I should have just brought on Megan up. Oh my goodness. So welcome to the show. If you don't know me, where you been at? I'm just joking. My name is Mike Asherbrenner. I am professionally known as the Redneck Connector and proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business community. And I don't have anything cute and funny today. I'm sorry. If you don't like that, go ahead and send me a message, carrier pigeon preferably, or email. But today I am super excited. Seriously, I'm always kind of excited because when you hang around folks like this, how can you not be? Um, but we're going to talk about a challenge that can make or break your business. And that challenge is leadership, folks. So, my special guest today, she is amazing, knows exactly how to turn managers into leaders who keep their teams thriving and profits climbing. She's the founder of Leader Experience with 20 years of diverse global coaching under her belt. So let's roll this intro and then we will introduce and welcome to the stage the one and only Megan Robinson. And yes, I see all you lovely people. I will be asking questions and please chime in. This is your show. She is as big hearted as she is brilliant, folks. So let's do this. Let's have a blast, y'all. If Papa can find the buttons here, they moved them on me. StreamYard, stop doing that unless you tell me first. All right, be good.
Are you looking to grow your network and your net worth with other high-level, heart-centered professionals? Then grab a seat and your favorite beverage and join Mike Asherbrenner, the Redneck Connector. It's time for the Hounds of Business Community Happy Hour.
All right. Hey, see, there's no time to waste. Megan and I can talk forever and ever and meaningful things. So take notes, ask questions, connect, network. Don't pitch slap, right? With a P. We don't pitch slap. But we love to connect and push each other up. That's the cheat code in the Hounds, folks. I wasn't the biggest, fastest, strongest, most, resourceful at the time. But boy, I can push up winners and let them reciprocate. And that's how we did it. So let's bring up a bird of a feather. Let's bring her up. Megan Robinson. Yay. I don't have the soundboard. So he just, yay. That's the best you get. How are you today, my friend?
I am fan-freaking-tastic. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Look at the people in just like 30 seconds and they're here. It's like magic, right?
I mean, you say happy hour, people come.
And they're busy people. It's 7 p.m. for most of us. Some of us are still working on the West Coast, half of the Hounds, and they are here. So let's give a shout out. There's Mr. Homer. He helps me take care of all the stuff that I mess up easily. Thank you, Homer. And then we have April Wyatt. Have you met April Wyatt yet?
Oh my gosh, we're scheduled in a week or two. Very much looking forward to that conversation.
Oh my goodness. If I matured, and I think I did a little bit, she had a big part in that. So, and by the way, when we say April Wyatt, we got to say Tomo because she has the Tomo tour coming up in Japan.
Oh, well, I will say you can mature. You haven't matured. It's not past tense. It's not finalized. You're still maturing.
I agree with that. And if you're, I don't think you do. I think you die. I mean, if you're continuously growing, I think that's a good point. See, you and April are going to have a great talk. I want to see that.
I am really looking forward to it.
Let's give another shout out because Mr. Radio Voice himself, Royce Blake, he is getting into all kind of fun stuff with podcasting and whatnot. Mr. Royce, thank you. Have you got to hear Royce? At least hear his voice?
But I'm already intimidated with the radio voice. If you've got good radio voice, man.
I always pick on him because he's a great guy. He's got a sense of humor. But I always talk about on career day must have really stunk for Royce because he was like, what are you going to do, Royce? I don't know yet. Like his voice was made for radio. Like it's just crazy. So he went through it. It's 30 years. And then quick shout out to Beverly Neal Clinton. She's coming on board. She is with us now. And so she is she is pushing the Hounds mission to the next level. So amazing. She has really, I've introduced her to a handful of Hounds and they just called me. It's one today and just raving about it. So she is absolutely amazing. So, hey, you are in good company. Folks, take notes. Yeah, right. Chat it out. We're going to put questions in there for you and we're going to get right down to it. So let's start at the beginning, Megan. That's a good place, right?
It's a place.
Yeah, it's a place. It's the good place for me. So you've worked with Fortune 500 companies, scrappy startups, and everything in between, right? When you walk into a new organization, what's the very first thing you look for in leadership?
This was a tough one because I put about five. I was brainstorming because I knew you'd start off with this one. I was like, if I don't have an answer,
Oh,
it's going to
you
look
knew the
sad,
guns were coming. We just jumped
right?
into it. Yeah.
And so I had a lot of things. And when I really stopped and took a step back, because I'm looking at behaviors, I'm looking at how the leadership team affects, I'm looking at their listening skills, how they hold people accountable. But at the end of the day, what I'm really looking for is clarity. I will say most organizations don't have clarity. Oh, there you go. Clarity around their leadership. They don't know what good leadership looks like. It's hard for them to give feedback on it. It's unclear expectations. It's always this nebulous space. And that's the first place that I like to start is how do we bring clarity to something? But it's also the place that I think they need to start getting grounded in because they can't give the feedback. Nothing else is going to be able to happen if they're not clear in their own leadership.
Very great answer. Uh, so do you find that to be similar with bootstrapping startups and entrepreneurs and also large companies? Is that kind of a common theme, just different label? Like,
Oh, always. I think clarity in general is an underutilized leadership skill. Sorry, speaking down a little bit, because I'm so excited, like just bringing it down. It's such a challenge. And I find that no matter who I'm coaching or who we're working with, whether it is that entrepreneur, whether it's that first time manager, whether it's an SVP or something that's the president of a company, getting the clarity of thought in every way makes their leadership better because they can't communicate if they don't know what they want to say. They can't get that direction or vision without that clarity. So it's kind of that fundamental piece that I find is missing and really, really hard to develop.
okay, comments. April Wyatt, especially you. Do you see the passion and excitement when she talks about leadership? You know, like, do y'all see it oozing? It's not something she's just doing to make money. Like, she probably nerds out on this on Saturday or something, right? True. All right. So on
Very
that
true.
note, oh yeah, we can tell. Very intuitive crowd here. So, where'd this passion come from, Megan? Where was the moment when you said, "Yep, this is my lane"?
Oh man, it actually was a much longer, much longer journey, I'll say. And it started with a very unleadership focus. Like many people, I did that, worked in companies, I worked in Fortune 500 companies. And I finally said, look, I'm going to break out. I'm going to start on my own. That 10-year anniversary of being independent is actually coming up. I'm pretty proud of that one. But when you first break that from being in those organizations to going independent, and when I made that break, my motto was, I'm done playing with B and C players. I can do this better on my own. I know what I need to do. And I look back at that and how terrible of an approach that was to leadership, to saying like, I'm done with all of you. You all suck. I'm better than you.
Right. Took courage though. That's what
It takes courage for sure. But that frustration that I felt, that lack of empathy, that challenge with how you lead other people and how you work through other people was frankly missing from it. It took a couple of those entrepreneur iterations. And finally, I was actually with a company. I was white labeling underneath them and I was collaborating with another organization of independent contractors. And one of the founders passed away unexpectedly, like dropped dead the next day. I got a call in the middle of the night saying, hey, they're dead. I need to cancel sales class tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was a whole group of contractors and I watched everyone rally together around a shared vision. I watched everyone do what it took. I watched everyone really want to collaborate and be part of that solution. And I ended up folding my practice underneath it and taking on a leadership role. But it really gave me insight on what great leadership can do to a team, how it does inspire, what it does look like when you create that culture and that environment that is passionate and healthy. When I eventually realized I wasn't a great fit with the business partner and moved on, I really realized how instrumental leadership was to my journey, to the pieces that I was missing along the way, and took stock of that on where some of the natural talents were and really started to go full into coaching.
Okay, you would do this for, no, I'm not saying she will, but you would do this for free. Like, you had a gazillion dollars, you would be like, What are you going to do for fun? Talk about leadership and help people with.
I am literally all the time think if I won the lottery tomorrow, like I have the lottery game plan in the back of my head still, I know I'd still do this 100%. And I've like very much thought of, would I really want to do this if it stopped? If I didn't have to, I could not get rid of a handful of my clients. I couldn't. I don't think I ever can.
See, folks, y'all hear this? And then what stood out was you just didn't have a straight line, always knew what you wanted. Everything was perfect. I don't know where we get this from, but we look at people, you know, that are successful and happy and go, well, I wish I was as good as them. Are you kidding me? Like,
that was actually my whole first, like I was the weird kid at 13. I said I wanted to be the VP of marketing. And that was literally the whole first career.
Oh,
yeah. At 13, I was like, this is what we're doing.
Did I tell you this? Oh my goodness. You set that up like crazy. My daughter she just went to first grade 2 days ago. Just on that note, we were outside and she was talking about ice cream and the ice cream truck, you know, he's not on time and all. And so we talked about like planning out how to run an ice cream truck. So she goes in the house and says, hey, Mom, I don't need to go to first grade. She said, what are you talking about? She said, oh, me and Daddy's going to buy an ice cream truck and take over the market. We're good. I was like, what are you teaching her? I was like, oh, no, listen, I'm at college, not first grade. You need the first grade. Yeah, college, don't send me hate mail. But, you know, I've done that. Didn't really work out, but maybe it does for you. But anyway, on that note.
So she's going to take over the ice cream truck.
Yes. And, you know, she's dead serious. Like, you know, and so, yes, there's little Megans running around everywhere was my point.
You actually don't know this. I did have an ice cream truck. That was the first car I ever purchased. It was a 1976 Chevy step van. And my husband and I updated it and painted it. He's actually a pastry chef. So he did all the ice cream and we had a gourmet ice cream truck for a hot minute. Okay,
everybody comment, oh, that is the most adorable thing. All right. And who knew that was going to come out of this show? Who knows nobody knows whatever's going to come out of my mouth, this show, or the hounds. Proof positive. So, Baz had a question.
He did have a question. I saw the biggest challenge in the pivot. And I don't know, Baz, if that's a question on pivot from making the entrepreneur jump or the pivot and leadership jump. I'm going to assume it was the entrepreneur jump, or do you want me to assume it was the pivot and leadership?
Whatever you like. Yeah.
I'm going to say that the biggest challenge in the pivot to entrepreneurship was the discipline. You have so many options of what you can do and how you can spend your time that being really intentional and focused is a really important quality to have with that. If you're a strength finder person, focus is actually one of my top 5 strengths. So for me, it's like, okay, what am I going to focus on? How am I going to bring intentionality to it? Where do I want to spend that time? Because you have no one breathing down your neck. You have no guardrails. You have no direction. It is all you, baby. So I think that's what, 1, is the biggest challenge in that pivot, but 2 is something that still challenges me. And I still have those conversations. I'm actually having a session with someone tomorrow to look at and do that time audit of where should I be spending my time? What are the most important tasks for me? Where do I need to focus and prioritize?
Wonderful. See, the relatability, that's what I like about you. This is always relatable because you've been there, you've done that, right? No, Sid, that's why I say that all the time because that's the guest I have on all the time. I mean, it's just one after the other, like, you know, from pain and struggle, and now you're out there helping other people become more profitable by doing good things for people. Because and I said this, everybody wants to help culture, but you know what culture is made of? It's people. And even if you call the play, just like a coach, if you call a football play, but they don't know what that is and don't know how to run the play, well, how's it going to work, right? So,
well, I look at that as meeting people where they're at. When you talk about that football play and no one knows it, that I think is such an undervalued leadership ability that is not taught, that is not shared with anyone, that is this assumption that you just kind of develop through osmosis over time. And even the value and the importance of that ability to be flexible. And it's not bending to everyone's whim. It's a matter of meeting someone else where they're at and understanding that situation and reading that situation and being willing to do the hard work, frankly, the leadership hard work to make that adjustment, to make sure everyone has the same play, make sure everyone's on the same page.
Right, and can execute. That's another thing. Different personality types. You are one of the best, if not the best, on understanding. Like if you talk to me and you talk to some guy that's really highly tech and analytical, don't expect the same process result or understanding, right? Like you got to, and you're really, really good at that intuitively, but you're also great at teaching people. So before we get into that, because I want to get into the juice, right? All right, so let's to wrap this segment up. I always say a bad leader can sour a team faster than milk left out in the sun, right? What's the worst bad leader behavior that you've seen in your career, if I may?
I mean, there's a couple bad ones. I think the worst, and this is probably the most relatable for people too, is not giving the feedback. How many times either you've been in that leadership position and you haven't given someone feedback, or you've been the one on the recipient end that is not getting the feedback that you can take action on. And I think that people hold back what their true thoughts or feelings are, or what the feedback needs to be, because they don't want to hurt someone's feelings, or they're afraid, or that's their own head trash on how they can deliver that feedback. And so they hold it in and they hold it in, and then they get frustrated, and then they get burnt out, and then it all explodes over the other person. I literally had a client that had an admin, and she wasn't going to give her the feedback. I'm like, cool, what's going to happen in 3 months if you don't tell her this? She's like, oh, I'm going to fire her. I'm like, cool. Maybe we could have a little bit of discomfort now. I mean, of course, now it's like her favorite employee. They go together so incredibly well. She's like a mind reader, but without giving her that feedback and insight, it's just going to explode or implode.
Right.
Can I give one more example? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. This is the fun part. Everybody like, ooh, tell me more. It's like ghost stories. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, you see it all the time. Managers, they walk into HR, they're like, I want to fire this employee. And then that HR person will pull up their last performance evaluation, and it's glowing. It's literally glowing. It happens. Anyone you talk to in HR, you'll hear it over and over and over again. But the other one that I see is, there was once a president of a company that I was working with, and he was talking out of both sides of his mouth in the worst way possible. Part of the time he was saying, I don't care when people work. I don't care how they work. They just need to get their projects done, right? As long as the work gets done, that's all that matters. And that's where a lot of our world is moving towards. That's a lot of how we're addressing it. On the flip side, literally probably in the same conversation, it was, and I used to call him out all the time. He'd say, well, I'm looking at these time cards and people are at 35 hours a week. Like, well, aren't they getting the work done? What are you upset about? And he had such a mentality because he'd worked through agencies, was an agency owner. Trust me, I know these 60-hour weeks minimum consistently. And that was almost that expectation. And no one could win in that situation when they both just needed to get the work done and then also needed to pull in all these intense hours. This mix match of expectations, of values, but really it's the inconsistency that I see. It confuses teams, it frustrates them, and it makes that leader in their own right completely bonkers. So that's what I've seen.
Yeah, see, some of that was shocking to me. Because where I came from in corporate, like many moons ago, the employee wasn't gleaming. It was like, okay, we finally got rid of them, and they didn't do anything. I didn't know like stellar employees that didn't cause trouble were like, because wouldn't it be true, real quick, that HR don't want to be responsible for hurting the bottom line, right? Essentially, if somebody, especially in sales, like this is a key sales player, you can't just fire them because now you lose money, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have another client, I of course, totally anonymous, but the lack of feedback is so bad, and her self-awareness was so bad that I went into a pre-call. The organization wanted to pay for coaching for her. I said, great, what do you want to work on? Like, what are your goals around this? Where are your development? She said, I have no idea. She's literally coming to me saying, I don't know what I want to work on. I don't know where I need to grow. And I'm coming at it every which way, trying to get an answer, pulling teeth from it. It is so bad, Mike, that the president of the organization said, if they are such a star player and they are holding probably 3 different positions, but it is so bad on their interpersonal skills and professionalism that if they don't get coaching, their employment is contingent upon it. They're going to get fired.
Oh, wow.
No matter how much they produce, because it is so terrible. and that person's self-awareness. And I looked at the president too. I was like, look, she has no idea what's going on. Like, she is, that disconnect, that vastness is so big. And they'd worked together for over a decade. She'd let that behavior go on for over a decade.
Wow. No, you hit the nail on the head. Self-awareness. Like, next time, and April can chime in. Well, most people here can chime in. Next time you're like, what? Whoa, how could they're not even aware of it. Like, that's the key. And I've caught myself doing it. That's why I can see it in others. I'm like, well, dude, you do that. Like, like, and so it starts.
First question I ask. Yeah. First question. Are they aware of the problem? Are they going to be surprised if they hear this?
Yeah. Ask April. Talk when you talk to April. Yeah. April told me something today I wasn't really happy to hear. She's like, something about, do I own it? And I was like, I accept it. I'm not there at like, yay, I'm with you. I'm like, but I know she's right. Like, and that right there, that attitude can really make a difference of getting it done, having a better culture, and streamlining, compressed time frames when it comes to getting it done, right?
Well, I even think that's a communication gap for the leadership as well, right? If you're giving that feedback and that other person isn't aware of it, you haven't done your job in giving that feedback. You can say it to them 15 different ways, but until you find the way that sticks and connects with them, you have not done your job. You have not fulfilled your responsibility. Their awareness is so gone that you haven't really connected.
Well, I want to get into your framework because and this is the part we're about to get into where folks go, did I pay for this? Oh my gosh, like you give away big glasses of milk, right? If you want folks, if you want it to the whole cow, right? If you want to get all the kudos, or someone, I know I sounded wrong.
No, it's okay. I'm just giving the milk for free. No one wants to buy the cow. It's cool.
But no, people do. And that's why I put this up here, because there are folks out there. It's not a question. You know this. I know you're joking. But it's not a question of do we hire? It's who. And there's plenty of people doing a lot of things. But this is our pick, right? You are a pick. And we want to make sure that we put that out there so folks go, hey. And here's the thing. I loved your style. You're not a salesperson. You're sitting down like a medical doctor would, try to figure out the problem, figure out what's going on. And you'll tell them, yes, I am a good fit, or no, or whatever they need to know, right? And that's Hound's material, right, folks? So there you go. Make sure you scan the QR code. You can go to eleaderexperience.com. And I'm going to put a banner up in a minute where you can get an HOB special. Thanks to Megan, she didn't even tell me that. So now I feel like, I'm like redneck George Jefferson. Wow, I get a special. And she don't do this. So we'll put that up there for you folks in a minute. And want to give a quick shout out because birds of a feather flock together. Greg Moore, right? Another high level person in his own lane. And he's so humble. He's like you, Megan. He's so humble that you don't know. Like, he's got accolades, but he's just a down to earth person that wants to help people not get in the wrong business as much as he wants to connect them to the right business. So I have seen him say, no, this is not for you, or help people figure out so they can make up their own minds. And then guide them to the right solution. Some people say, oh, this ain't for me. Well, he don't get paid to tell people not to do it, but he does it anyway. And that's why he's our choice. So thank you, Greg. Anybody who's out there trying to figure out a bootstrapping or, building it yourself, and maybe you should get into a franchise. Boy, it's like saying I want to buy a house. Woo, there's a lot of that. So anyway, go check out Greg. He is on LinkedIn. So Gregory K, Greg Moore, MOHR. I got that right. And super guy. He will be on real heavy hitters at that summit. So check that out. It's on my profile page, folks. And then I got to give a real quick one. This guy is cool than a ceiling fan. I love his story. He was a divorce attorney. Have you met him yet?
No.
Oh, you too. Yes. He was. So his doctor said, listen, you ain't listened to me. You're too big. You're unhealthy, and get out of here. Go find your doctor. So he took his attorney skills, researched wellness, and boom. Now he's got a program that is so simple, even the redneck connector can do it. All right. So, and that's no joke. We did a whole thing. There's April Wyatt was a part of that. And we all did the program. And this guy has a huge heart. He's even taking losses. He don't care. He wants people to go out there and live that happy, harmonious life. So thank you, David. And I forgot her
book title there. I'm just reading it and getting familiar. There's 9 simple golden rules. Having those boundaries, having that clarity.
He is so simple.
Oh my gosh. Once you say this is what it is, so much easier. Every other decision just becomes clear.
Oh, and he's just such a cool guy. And we're building the sub communities and the sub community groups in the Hounds. Yeah, we're going to be building that. So folks, get on the ground floor. It's like, I don't know, what, $10 or something. It's ridiculous. This guy is the real deal. So if you're out there cracking, grinding, building a business, not eating, and taking care of yourself, this is a book for you. This is the guy. So, and last but not least, we had him on. We had Dr. Tahir, all right, Millionaire Academy. This man, self-made, humble as I could ever imagine. Love this guy. They are heading up to Meta and Viarta One, credited by Microsoft, Google, and Amazon. Jeff is a warrior. Guy worked and worked month after month. No results, kept working anyway. Little engine who did. That's Jeff. Now he is leading the U.S. Expansion. And so, folks, if you hear big words like tokenization, metaverse, you want to know more, but you don't want the nonsense behind all the mass marketing. That's why I love these guys. They just give you the information, they educate you, talk in plain English, and then you can do whatever you want. I love that. Finally, thank you, Jeff, Dr. Tahir, for educating and not bombarding us with stupid DMs. We love you guys. All right. So now let's get into your framework, and folks, share this with everyone. All right. We're going to get down to it. No pressure. All right. Because you can do this in your sleep. All right. You talk a lot about coaching first approach. What is that, and how is it different than a typical workshop in this wheelhouse?
Well, I would say, I don't know if anyone here has ever gone to a leadership training or a leadership seminar or a workshop. I always call them kind of the weekend workshops. And a lot of times you'll go for conflict resolution, right? And you go and your whole company goes, your whole team goes, and you have a really great day. And then 6 months later, 3 months later, 3 weeks later, how much conflict do you still have with the company? It's probably about the same amount. So what we found and what a lot of research actually proves is it's not about having the big rah-rah moment. It's about those little steps that you take along the way. It's not necessarily the theoretical things that you can learn about conflict or communication. It's how do you make it applicable and practical? So what we've done is we've really combined leadership development and the best of learning development with coaching. And that's why we call it the coaching first approach, because we want to make sure that you're asking really good questions, that you're starting to reflect, that you're being insightful. All of that is what it's going to take to be developing those leadership skills, because I have a really hard time calling it training, because you can't train a leader, right? You can train a dog. I'm sure you have a lot of redneck stories about dog training in there. But you can't necessarily train a leader. You have to develop those skills. And so that's why coaching is so instrumental into that process and into that journey.
It's funny you said that. Remember what I said the other day on the Mike King radio show? I said, you were like Caesar Milan, the dog whisperer. And you saw through me like Scotch tape. And I'm like, who are you, dude? You don't know me, but you saw it. I'm like X-ray vision, because you've done this, I don't know, 100 times across 7 countries. Yeah, maybe that's it. Like, and that's what you do for fun, right? But
It's
great.
sad, true.
Yeah, no, I love this. And people are like, do you ever talk about something else? Why would I talk about anything other than my passion? Very, very little, very few. I mean, a family, but I don't talk about goofy stuff. I don't know. But anyway,
you talk about this with family. You talk about this, you don't talk about family. You talk about this with family.
Right.
Literally on the dog walk last night with my husband, and I apologize. I'm like, I'm sorry. I just went on for 15 minutes straight. Yep. He just replied, like, yep, I'm used to it. Yeah, this is normal.
I think everybody in the comments like, yeah, my spouse, friend, or significant other is like, yup. And my sweet wife will pretend like she, is like, oh, really? But she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't matter, right? So
what always surprises me, though, is when your spouse, like, it takes a couple of years, however long you've been together, and they start really knowing what you're talking about and picking up and asking the questions. You're like, how did you learn about paperweight? Right. Or in my case, yes, I know about croissant folds and butter versus water or milk versus water.
Yeah, you really were listening all these years. Holy cow. Yeah. Like, don't make them mad. They just get mad. You don't leave them, because then they'll become your competition. Like, I still got your hard drive, you know. Yeah.
You didn't need another reason not to get divorced. You're
Yeah.
just building out your competition.
I'm like, oh, there's the Houndettes coming. I'm like, oh no, I can't compete with the Houndettes in mine. So we're so silly. See, this is what I mean. Have fun while you're learning stuff, dadgummit. All right. So, all right, walk us through the framework. And this ain't boring. Don't leave yet. What's step one when you're turning a so manager into a culture-driven leader?
We hinted around this a little earlier, but I will say it's awareness. You cannot force someone to become a better leader. You can't force them to want to do something differently, to want to pay attention to people. I always call that like checkbox leadership, kind of going back to like the weekend workshop. It's okay, well, Megan said I have to ask, how are you doing? So let me ask at my meeting, how are you doing? You don't care how someone's doing until you have any feeling or emotion or drive behind it, any awareness that why you need to do that. It is all going to fall flat. Like I mentioned the client earlier, who her continued deployment is contingent upon making some of these changes, had no awareness. We've got to have that awareness first and foremost, whether it's coming from feedback, whether it's digesting in a way that matters to that person, there has to be drive. I'm going to say I think there's probably a couple other coaches on here. If someone has no drive to change, if someone has no motivation, no desire, they are uncoachable.
Oh.
They are. We're kicking them out, right? I'm not going to waste my time with you. We're not going to play this game. You don't want to. You're not interested. You're not invested in it. I'm not going to invest in you. And that is the only qualifier for something like that. And so part of that is, how do you make it? How do you make it meaningful? Go ahead.
No, I remember a long time ago, it's been a while, because amateurs versus pros. I was very uncoachable for a long time. It's probably why I didn't grow much or do much and have what I thought I wanted halfway. And when I realized, I had a wise mentor tell me, professionals, top level pros, athletes, they have multiple coaches and they graduate those coaches, right? And they keep going up and up. And it reminded me of when you said that, I was like, yeah, that is very similar to, your mindset where you work on the people. Like, it's a human capital, right? Relationship capital. It's not a cheesy catchphrase to make people feel good in marketing. It is the truth of the matter. When you have happy people, they advertise, word of mouth goes. I mean, there's so many benefits, and you guys are kind of ahead of the curve, in my opinion, where you just like that was already assumed in your framework when it was like an add-on because the market demanded it in other frameworks. I mean, that's what I do all day. I just talk to people and learn. So no, kudos to you, because that's a big deal, Megan. So anyway, I thought he asked a question. He didn't. All right. So I was going to be nice. And folks, quit being shy. And I knew that last question I put in there, nobody was going to air the dirty laundry. So we'll modify it. If you know of somebody, or if you have been in a company that was that way, then you can modify the question. Just have fun with this and get something out of it. All right. So you're certified in, is it DISC? Is that what it is?
I love DISC.
I know you do. You sent it to me like 3 times. And I can't wait because you're so excited. And other assessments. So give us an example of how knowing someone's wiring has changed the way a team works together for the positive.
I'll say a personal example from some earlier work that I've done. So this was earlier, Megan. Megan's done a lot of work along the way. We did an assessment tool. We did strength finders. I don't know if you've ever done that. I alluded to it earlier. And it was the big team joke that empathy was 0 on Megan's strengths. And literally the other team members would say that. Like, you go through the whole thing, and we were a pretty casual group, a little hurtful at times, right?
Right.
But it changes how you address situations. It changes how you collaborate. When you have a shared language like that, everyone starts talking about the same thing. And so I'll say DISC is definitely one of my favorites. I find that it's a little simpler for a lot of people. It's easier to use on a day-to-day aspect. And it's easy for you to start adjusting some of your styles, because that's what I think is most important about DISC. Yeah, you're going to learn something about yourself, but it's going to give you the framework on how to meet others where they're at. And that's where you start to see the real magic with it. But I'll say with DISC specifically, I have a good friend. She's a partner at an accounting firm. And she is this I style, which is all gregarious and outgoing and friendly and enthusiastic. And she's an accountant. So if you imagine, most of her accountant buddies are all this C style, which are conservative and concise and precise and methodical and introverted, right? And she's all the way opposite. And when they really look at that framework, they're like, well, that's why she's the rainmaker. That's why she's bringing in all the business. There are strengths and balances to each one of these things. So particularly when you have someone on your team that doesn't fit the mold, it's not a culture fit, it's not a personality fit, it's a difference in style. And until you're able to celebrate and have empathy for those other people, as well as tap into those strengths, the team doesn't jive as fast.
Oh, you hit the nail on the head as always. Because I remember joking before about that one hippie accountant, right, with the Bahama shirt, like in a sea of accountants. And no, I've seen it in play. I've worked with somebody who worked with attorneys. They're not an attorney, never expected to be, but they try to act and talk and walk and do attorney stuff. And one day it was actually a style coach that came and said, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" And then they came in this pink dress and just ta-da, it was like Sesame Street. Remember which one doesn't belong? Yeah, her. And that was the point because
Yeah.
she's not an attorney. So she killed it. She nailed it, and her business and street cred and confidence, everything went up, and then she ended up being in the highest circles for women conferences because of that independence. Like it's amazing.
But until you have a framework or a language for everyone to get on the same page and celebrate and recognize, it's really hard for them to really lean into those strengths. They hide them.
Yes.
They try to cover it up without having that common framework or that language or that ability to celebrate it. And you see that's part of the diversity play, right? It's diversity of thought or styles just as much as its background.
I love it. I love diversity because I know one or two things really well, and the rest of the whole world, I'm not so much. So people like, one day somebody asked me, they said, "What's your weaknesses?" I said, "I don't have any." So we don't have any. I said, "Look I got a pack. I got Dr. CJ. I got all these people. If I have a weakness and I have self awareness, Megan, see, then I go get the right tool for the job. I know I'm not the right tool, right?" And that's any great leader, whether I like them or not, they have a knack for that. They're like, that person over there, they have it, whatever it is, and they celebrate it. They make use of it. Like tech people used to drive me nuts. You know me. I'm so far in the sky and big visionary. And it used to be like they were popping my bubble, but they weren't. Right? They were just being realistic. Come back down to earth. How do we pay for it? Where's the supplies go? How do we scale this? And I'm going, you don't like me. No, that's why they're taking the time to tell you this.
But it's so hard to have that collaboration when it feels, and I actually got the nickname at one point in my career, Dream Killer, because I have the ability to flex. Just like those IT people that are all that very precise, you want to be big visionary thinker, you need to have that balance. And yeah, I can be big visionary thinker. I love playing that game. But when I'm seeing that there's too much of that energy in the room, having enough self-awareness and adaptability to flex to something different to make sure there's the balance. That's why sales and operations are always fighting and finger pointing at each other, right? Sales wants to go out and sell the biggest thing, make all the promises, and then operations has to clean up all their mess.
Bingo. And that I've experienced that, and now I love just being around the right people, but that comes with you growing inside first. I mean, I know it sounds cheesy, like a little PBS special, but it's the God's honest truth. You have to be willing to accept it from the right people. I don't hear it from everybody, but the right people, the right time with skill can make all the difference because they're not telling you this because they're being weird. They're busy people. They're telling you because they care, right? So once I realized, hey, they're not being hateful, they're being helpful. There's a big difference. Starts with an H, right? So yeah, very good. And you get this, right? And so it's not like, hey, I put on my course and hopefully it works. You're like, no, this person needs to come here. We need to work on this person. Not like they're defective, but we all got stuff. We all got it. Some of it's more obvious than other people, right? But some people are better at hiding it than we are. That's what I've noticed. Everybody's got something. And the ones who are willing to come out and say, yeah, I need some help with that. That's the ones I tend to gravitate to. Y'all tell me what you think in the comments, but to me, that's it. It's attitude, right? Getting real sometimes is hard. But that's why we got Megan, right? That's why we got her at the corporate level.
Well, that's why you have the hounds too. I think that you've created so much of a community that are real and honest and will call each other out from a place of love, not from that malicious, that hateful place, but surrounding yourself with community and people that can give you that feedback that you can be comfortable and a little bit vulnerable with is critical.
It has changed my life, not just business, not just all that stuff. It's changed my life. I mean, with April Wyatt tell me to put my toes in the grass, and I'm like, I don't wear shoes, right? But she's like, well, be intentional. See, now that's different. Right? And, it's fun. It's just,
I'm not sure how you went from toes in the grass to not wearing shoes to intentionality, but sure.
Yeah, that's April Wyatt. No, she was telling me to get grounded and giving me concrete advice. I would just walk around barefoot like Fred Flintstone because, I live outside. But my point is that, I thought I had a business problem. I had to keep crushing at it. Now I need to relax a little and get recentered or whatever they want to call it. My point is, you're absolutely right. All these people come to help each other, right? And I think that's the key. And you help cultures in real business, big and small and everything in between, do that because people go, well, I can do it. I can do it. Well, then, A, why didn't you do it already? Right? Good question. And B, that's goofy. That's like saying I'm my wife's financial coach. No, I'm either her husband or I'm her coach. I'm not both, right? Like I have some other guy come in and say the same stuff I teach all day in finance because I'm not dumb enough to tell her how to spend money. And
that is a long-term marriage right there, by the way. That is not year 1 or year 2 marriage material. That is a year 5, year 10 marriage awareness.
We've been together 23 years, so we just got our 20th wedding anniversary. So any people out there, any newbies, newlyweds, take it from the old cat here. Just think, don't do that. Don't tell nobody. Go. Yeah. But
when I first started my business, it's so funny you say that because I really looked at the landscape of how are we developing these leaders? How are we developing managers? Because we keep promoting people with great technical expertise. We throw them into management. And we say, good luck, figure it out, sink or swim. We hope they learn by osmosis. I was like, okay, so where do people go? Normally, they can't actually go to their boss or manager because they don't know how to coach them. They don't have the time to coach them, or most likely they're part of the problem. And that's why people can't do this internally. It's because they don't have the time, they don't have the ability, and they keep fueling that problem with the lack of feedback, with the lack of clarity. And I will say that time is probably the most important thing. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, do you have one-on-ones with your team? How frequently? My husband at one point was managing over 40 people. You cannot have a relationship with 40 direct reports and develop them and grow them. You can't. It's impossible. It's not the right resource.
It's even as hard or harder when you have a community, right? And you have, and that's, oh my gosh. And Beverly had a great question, but yeah, absolutely. Everything you're saying is dead on. This is why we're having this discussion because it's not you. It's human condition. Well, maybe you're part of the problem. That's not a slight. That's the truth, right? I can't see the forest from the trees. I have to have people pull me out and go, hey, because I'll teach people the same stuff that I'll do the stuff I tell them not to do. It's not because I'm contradictory. It's because I'm not even aware or know how to do different. I need someone like you and the hounds and people to go, hey, try this. Right? You want to tackle that? She said, does vulnerability come into play?
Oh, that was a while ago. I'm trying to think of what I was talking about with vulnerability. Vulnerability always comes into play, I think, with leadership. It's both from that self-awareness. Mm-hmm. You cannot be reflective and build some self-awareness without being a little bit vulnerable. You have to admit some of those flaws. You have to admit those gaps. You have to be willing to look into the mirror at those flaws, not with judgment, but with curiosity, I'll say. And that's a very different approach, I think, than just being vulnerable. I was literally talking actually this morning. This morning I was doing a 360 debrief with someone who ranked very lowly on, they had different categories and different leadership competencies that they're looking at. And humility was one of them. He was low. You know what the best part about this though? He ranked himself just as low as other people. He was aware that there was a problem there.
Hey, which is bravo.
Exactly. I don't have to explain to you that you are not perfect at everything, including humility, which I kind of wish he did rank himself, because that would have really shown the lack of humility. But
It
we were
is
talking
kind of
about that,
paradoxical. Yeah.
right? At least you're aware of the humility gap. When we were talking about that vulnerability and how you bring in the vulnerability to humility, it's not just being humble, and or for him, it was not looking like a strong, confident leader. If you're in chaos, yeah, I want people to have confidence in my leadership and know that there's a plan and that there's someone they can turn to and that we're getting things on track. Like, that's not necessarily being vulnerable. It's not, oh man, there's chaos, this sucks.
Right.
Yeah, that's not being vulnerable. But if you are learning from something or made a mistake and you're admitting to it, or you're teaching from some of the past mistakes that you've made, or you admit when you don't have the answers, hey, this is a new situation. What ideas do you guys have? I haven't encountered this before. That's not saying that you're not going to solve it or you're not going to be the leader of it, but it is being humble and opening yourself up to other perspectives. And that was what he was really missing, honestly. It was just this lack of openness to thinking that he knew everything. That was how humility and vulnerability. Go ahead.
You said teaching from past mistakes. That's all I do, dude. I'm the bridges out guy. I'm like, listen, I failed way more than y'all tried. That's why I'm here. That's the only reason people would pay me anything or join the Hounds or work with me. It's like, you don't want to do that. Trust me, my hairline fell out. It was awful. But teaching from other people's mistakes, that's the heart of coaching in most cases, right? I mean, that's like, why would I repeat Megan's mistake if Megan can help me figure it out, and then I can go make new mistakes, like faster, better, more advanced mistakes, like.
I always joke, it's not a matter of failing fast is a bad approach. And a lot of entrepreneurs are taught that, or you hear that in Silicon Valley, right? Let's fail fast. Right. Okay, that's fine. But did you learn anything from that failure? What did you actually gain? Right. And so often it's just like, oh, that didn't work. Let's just throw it out and try something new.
Yep.
That's not strategic.
Right. If you yell in a meeting and then you come back and do the same response in the same scenario, you probably didn't learn anything, right? Like, you probably didn't. And let's get to this real quick, because I asked the question. Now they're typing. Thank you all. Type yes if you ever had a boss who really understood you, and type no if they couldn't have read you right with the map and a flashlight. And then Beverly said, yep and nope. That's a good answer. First of all, Boz is still grinning like a happy monkey because he loves this. There you go. So he also nerds out on it. And Royce, yeah, he said both, but he's had a lot of bosses. Yeah. And especially in his arena, I can imagine.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, you're talking about that, being able to read someone. I was actually at a company, and the CEO could not identify with his executive team who was an introvert and who was an extrovert. Did not understand, was not listening to his team enough to know who was naturally in one camp or another, where they got their energy, where their natural tendency was. And yeah, that's part of the team being able to be flexible and adaptable for situations, which I respect the heck out of. But if you don't know your own team's just innate preferences, that's a huge red flag.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't listening. What were we talking about?
Sorry, you're talking about people that had bosses that...
No, you just said he wasn't listening.
Yeah, I realized that. I walked right into it.
Oh, see, that's why people stay till 8, because they're like, he's going to say something stupider about it later. It gets...
They don't stay for that. They stay.
Well, who knows? Yeah, tell me why you stay and be nice. But we know why they stay. Because there's value and fun, and this is, you're bringing it. I just love this. Oh my gosh. So, all right.
I love every conversation with you.
It really is fun. I appreciate it. I learn and I grow, and oh man. And anyway, I'm going to cheese out. So tell us a story. You're great at this. Story of a leader that you worked with who completely transformed, right? What did they change, and what did it mean for the business?
Oh my gosh.
Just one out of all the hundreds. And
I kind of want 2. Is that okay? Do I get 2?
You
can beg and plead for it.
You have 3.
Thank you. I'll say the first one is a client, and she came to me. We'll call her Nancy. She came to me after taking a step back. Oh, a lot of love. We'll say her name's Nancy. She had a a job, and she was a marketing director. She took a step back into a marketing manager role. She had some personal challenges that she wanted to navigate, and some health challenges. So she said, great, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to start working less. I need to have less stress in my life. When we chatted, she was working until 9 p.m. every single night. Like, you took a pay cut, you took a title cut, and you've still created the exact same situation that you had before. This has nothing to do with the role. This has everything to do with you. And so we were chatting, and really, I think this happens to a lot of people. They think the grass is greener somewhere else, and so they leave, but then they just recreate the exact same situation they were in.
I've done that before.
We've all done that before.
Yeah.
We've all done that before. And so for her, it was working a lot with those boundaries. It was working a lot with expectations. It was how she was communicating. It was what she was allowing, what she was permitting, how that showed up in her leadership for her team, how she collaborated with other departments, how she managed up, as well as how she led down. It really affected all of that. So we definitely got her out of those 9 p.m. evenings. We got her weekends back. She needed some additional accommodations for some of her health challenges. She was able to speak up and get exactly what she needed. And, interestingly enough, the whole company didn't go into flames. The work still got done. Productivity was still at an all-time high, but she was able to do it in a way that really was effective and aligned with where she needed to be. It's always funny because I was like, no, I can't possibly do that. I can't do that. I can't. It's a lot of I can'ts. And without having that willingness and that ideas and working with other people and a little bit of that vulnerability, they never change. On the flip side of that, I worked with another leader of an organization, and she stepped into a president role. She was at a director, and she stepped into president. They were grooming her for that. And she just lit that company up like a rocket. It was amazing. She changed a lot about her leadership, about how she led with curiosity, how she listened to other departments and teams. And she was someone that had gone through the ranks at that organization. She knew every in and out. She could do every single job in that company. And as president, she couldn't do that. That was no longer her role. And so she really had to change how she led, how she developed the rest of her team. She has a leadership team now that was never in place before her. And for a company that's, I think, over 30, 40 years old, she's doing year over year 20% growth. It's really incredible, especially in some really challenging markets. And we're talking 2021, 22. Even now to this date, they continue to beat and exceed benchmarks. And it's just both from the revenue growth, from the internal cost savings, how she's really been able to navigate it just by listening to her team, being more effective, being more intentional, the way that she's delegating to other people, how she's empowered them is both incredibly uncomfortable, but incredibly rewarding and satisfying now that she's seen the results of that.
But, well, I'm not going to mess that up with any comment. Those are good stories, because it leads into the next question, which we all want to know. Like, so great, everybody feels good, and you just said, hey, this is profitable. But before I get into it, Mr. Baz said, hey, we'd like to have you on the podcast.
Let's chat.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Absolutely.
Chat it up. Yeah, absolutely. Because I had a good time. I put a couple of his shorts up there, and they went boom on YouTube. Yeah, good people watching, good comment. So, yeah,
I've been seeing him in the notes. He is definitely there's a lot of support.
Overlap. Yeah, like the cookies and milk.
Oh, he's like the Venn diagram, I find.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there. And I see it all. There's a lot of just out there, right? And so it's so refreshing to go, oh my gosh, somebody who knows more than me and can help me. Because getting in here, both of y'all know, getting in here, that's not an easy place to be. In my head, you got to be careful.
Everyone thinks that. Everyone thinks that.
No, but I've proven it. But no, I've proven it. Because people think I'm goofy and not smart, and then they find out sometimes. But y'all did it, and you really have. You're very good at the systems, but because you're so good at people and you understand people, then it's so easy to go ahead and make that systems happen. So let me ask you, because we're going to run out of time, but I want to make sure people get this. Folks, go set the appointment. I'll put the calendar link up there. Have the chat with Megan. But here's what I want to know. you've seen measurable ROI, right? From this leadership work. It's bottom line. That's what companies want, right? More profits, more revenue, et cetera. So can you share a little bit before and after, right, in terms of the profit retention and productivity?
It's fascinating. I actually use another tool. It's called Coefficient Platform, and it really helps understand the human barometer. And we used it to measure the difference. And shockingly, leadership team and frontline workers have very different perceptions on how the organizations run and what's going on, right? Who would have thought? Leadership team, of course, every company's like that. But it was gaping. I mean, it was like almost like, it was like a 35-point difference between what the executives think, which is, like 90s, and what those frontline employees were. In 9 months, they worked to bring that up, to really address what those core challenges were, to really work on the skill set development, to make sure that that experience was something that would resonate and improve upon. 9 months, they did the hard work, and they saw it went from a 63 on that barometer to a 73, 10-point jump, right? Just for that group that really was struggling, that had a negative outlook, that was not happy in their role, didn't have the skills for it, which is great, right? Cool, you brought that up. What's really interesting is there was a 20% increase in profit in that same time period. I mean, when you're talking 9 months and you're doing 20% increase in profit for an organization, it's no coincidence. Wow. That is something much bigger at play.
Right. So they didn't buy $100 million trinkets and supply chain and blah, 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 AI. No, it was just getting what you already have working more efficiently and happier, essentially.
Yeah. Is your sales team happy? Get them working more efficient and happier. Right. Oh. Turns out that they are more productive, that they sell more, that clients are happier.
Yeah, I can imagine. I got to sell a crappy vacuum today. Like, okay, that's probably not going to be a productive day to sell vacuums or anything, right? So I love this combo, folks. Go eLeader Experience. I can't even talk. eLeaderExperience.com and go and I'll put this on the screen if we got time. There's articles in there, and everybody's got an article. I actually read these. I read very few articles. I don't have time, but these are very good. I looked at a chart one day on your website, and I was like, that actually makes sense. Like, it was very telling for me. So
that's because it was about connection, and you were like king of connection. It was just feeding right to your.
But it checked me though. I'm like, it could be very easy to go over here, and that's not where you want to be. You want to be over here. It was just very cautionary to me because I have, not to get on a tangent or a side, I have seen a lot. I've observed things, and so I see like certain subtle things. People can get excited. They have newfound fame, newfound money. And so those articles really give me a snapshot of stay over here. Just don't let that bother you, right? Especially when you're expanding rapidly. That is very uncomfortable. So got a lot of value from it, long story short. Appreciate it. So, all right, here's what, if someone's watching right now and they know leadership, their leadership bench is kind of shaky. What's one of the things they can do starting Monday morning that would make all the difference, or at least get them on the right path?
I'm going to say, it's Wednesday now, so Monday morning, you've got a couple days to think about it. Give feedback. If your leadership bench is shaky, you've got to be able to give that team the feedback that it's shaky. If they don't know where they stand, if they don't know where those gaps are, you are never going to close them. So I'll say definitely give them the feedback. And I would look at those one-on-ones as the ideal time to really have those constructive and coaching conversations. Because you do have the ability as the leader, you do have to have some of those coaching skills to support their development and make sure that they're aligned with it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. How can business owners, if they know they've got a leadership problem brewing, because it can be hard to want to see. I've been there, folks. It's common. So how can business owners know if they've got that problem brewing or already here, even if turnover isn't high yet, even if they're not seeing the metrics have a problem?
Yeah, I'm actually speaking at a couple of conferences over specifically on how you identify some of those leadership bottlenecks. But I think the biggest one, and what I actually hear from executives all the time, is they are spending more time firefighting. Your team should be able to be putting out a lot more of those fires, especially those managers. If you are doing all those things that they should be taking care of, that is taking away from the strategic planning portion of your day. That's taking away from doing the big moves that you need to do because you are putting out all of the other fires. Kind of the babysitting mentality is often where you get a
Yes.
lot of that frustration. That's exactly what the impact is having on you.
And especially scale ups, folks. It's like, well, hey, I got me myself here. Doing it this way got me here. Yeah, it won't take me there necessarily. So you have to be real. You got to be paying attention. It's like, hey, I'm swimming fine, and then a big wave comes. It's a different culture. It's a different dynamic, right? It's a good sign, but don't do it alone. Don't think, oh, I got this. That was my problem. I was like, oh, I got this, and then I drowned in the sea of crazy, right? Yeah, and it was like, oh, I don't got this. Right, and I have people around me to help. So that's what we're here for. So thank you, Beverly. You're awesome, my friend. And so here, for folks who want to take this deeper, what's the best way to connect with you and get started? I know you got resources and calendar links. So tell us, how do people get a hold of you?
I do. Please go ahead and connect with me on LinkedIn. But I think particularly with this community, I am much more focused on building those authentic connections, having those great conversations with people. So you've shared the link a couple of times. I think it's in the QR code up there as well. But please grab some time on my calendar. I'd love to share if I can, support, collaborate. Sometimes I always used to jokingly call it business therapy. It's like that quick, even on a networking call, they're like, God, I feel like I got out of a therapy session. I'm like, half I'm sorry and you're welcome.
You really are. You even got the glasses. You're like, oh, tell me how you feel today. I'm like, why not?
Why not? I don't start that obvious. We never go that obvious. Not everyone's a feeling person anyway.
Yeah. So go to the book a call, get to know her, right? That's the thing. If you have this problem, if you're serious and you're like, yeah, let me have a chat. It's like going to the doctor. It's confidential. It doesn't mean you're weird, weak. It's responsible. It's leadership. This is upper level thinking, right? It was a breakthrough when I said, I don't have this anymore. I need to go find a proven leader to help me get there. That's what we're talking about. So thank you for being that leader for companies like this, B2B, startup, or the scale ups and the big ones, and everyone in between. If you're making money and you're moving, keep doing it. All right. So
congratulations, by the way. There's not enough celebrating. And it is really hard to remember to celebrate those milestones. That's the other thing. Do on Monday morning, find something to celebrate. Please, whatever size company you're in, however many people you have or don't have, find something to celebrate, find something to appreciate.
Yes, absolutely. I can't believe we're only 3 minutes late. That's why I didn't do my little cute stuff in the beginning, because I knew this was going to take up the whole hour. So
I missed cute stuff.
No, we peppered it in there. It was easy to do, So you are a great guest, a great Hounds member. Love working with you, my friend. Appreciate you, support, taking care of business, and folks in the comments, Hounds, friends of the Hounds. Oh man, y'all delivered. I know there's kids, school's back in session, and you're here. So I appreciate that, man. We really do. And listen, shameless plug. No strays out there. This is hard. Leaving a legacy, building a business, doing something special, whatever it is. Don't do it alone. I almost fell through the cracks, and thank goodness I didn't. And my heart is now in the fact that I want other people not to fall through the cracks. That's why we do what we do. People, you guys you have an impact. You want to go beyond business, right? You want to go out there, have the time, money, and freedom to do special things, right? Help people in the best way. Hey, we got the people resource support to get it done. Right? It's not the only way, but it's our way. So if you're out there thinking, I suck at this, I suck at that, blah, 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 maybe, just maybe, we might help you with that. Maybe it's not you. Maybe you're Michael Jordan now going to synchronized swimming, right? Maybe it's just you need some help and some guidance, right? That's what we're here for. So nothing wrong with you. We just have to get you in the right ecosystem, get you around winners like Megan here, and then let the rest of it play itself out, folks. So, and yes, Christy, I see you from Florida. I was getting sad. She always comes to see us. So any last
thank you for sharing the community. Thank you for sharing your time. You guys are absolutely amazing. Such a great way to spend Wednesday afternoon.
Oh, we'll have you back. Trust me. We might have to put a fancy panel on, get you around some other like-minded winners. Oh man, that might
be dangerous.
You got it. Well, people are already offering you podcast things, so let's roll with that. Yes, and by the way, if you have a market that could use somebody like Megan and what she does, absolutely. And if you can't find her for some reason, hit me up on LinkedIn, YouTube, make a comment. We'll get you connected, folks. So without further ado, same time, same channel, we're going to have, guess who? Beverly Neal Clinton, her amazing business. Oh, I'm like, this lady, whoo, you know, it feels like we've known her forever. It's been a few months, but it feels like, in a good way, a lot of years. Uh, Big hearted, oh man, fired up. And she's already got like, I don't know, 5 hounds, people just going crazy. I talked to one today. I said, wow, he's over like Santa Claus. What do you do? Would you? Wow. So, folks, it's not you. Come on, join the movement. Let's get in. Hounds of Business, Friends of the Hounds. Let's get going, y'all. Thank you so much, Megan. You're a rock star. Appreciate you.
Thank
All
you.
right, folks. Have a good one. See you next one. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.